Hey y'all, hey, I'm back with another video. I promise, the Drake diss is coming up. I know I keep saying that, but every time I go to upload something else happens. So I promise that video is done, at least for the first diss. I just have to get to the second diss, and then I'm also going to be uploading for Martha's Vineyard later tonight. But I just wanted to come and I just wanted to get this shit off real fast. I think, right, that what the Joe Budden podcast they need a female Parks. Listen to what I'm saying. Mel is the only woman, okay? So she already has to there's only really but so much that she can say or she can do or whatever without all of the guys piling on her, right? Which sometimes is funny and sometimes she deserves it. But I think the problem here is that, for example, if any of the guys say something, let's just say one of them say something, and Mel tries to refute that point, you now have 17 of the niggas, even if he's wrong, that will jump in to try to defend his point, right? Mel doesn't have that. So, for example, I was just watching the last Patreon, which is, I think it's like Are We Cerebral or something like that. And one of the points that Mel was trying to make is that sometimes, like when your partner is specifically like a woman or in general, but sometimes when your partner is having a bad day and stuff like that, sometimes the best way to go about it is to ask them, like, are you looking for me to just listen? And are you just looking for me to just listen so that you can vent? Or do you kind of need like advice or help or something like that? And so all of the guys jumped on her. It was Imani at the end who kind of said what she said, but like more in the like correct verbiage and stuff like that. But when she said that, everybody jumped on her at the same time, like, oh gosh, that's not gonna work, ha 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 ha, laughing. And Mel sometimes has a hard time like defending her own point, and I think it also gets hard for her when you have about 7 different people or 8 to 10 different men coming at you at the same time and just completely disagreeing with you. So what I think Mel needs somebody there to back her. She needs, and again, not to say that every single woman is going to back everything that she says. I'm not saying that. But I think that when she has legit points, especially from the point of view, the POV from a woman, she needs another woman in the room to back up or kind of be able to verbalize what it is that Mel's trying to say, because sometimes her point is correct, but she's just not saying it correctly. So like I said, with the whole point she was bringing up about, well, sometimes just ask your partner what they need. She wasn't able to verbalize it the way Imani was at the end, but her point still remained the same. And the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, Mel's actually not wrong. She's absolutely right. I can't speak for men, but as women, we even do that as friends to each other. Like if my friend calls me and she start going off, I'd be like, hold on. Or am I sitting? Do you just want to get it off your chest? You just want to get your shit off? Or do you want me to like kind of put in my 2 cents? No, I just want to get my shit off. All right, cool. Go ahead. Go off. That is actually a real thing that happens. And because Mel wasn't able to verbalize it correctly, they all dogpiled on her. And they always do that. But I really think, now the reason I say he needs a female Parks version, is because I don't think you necessarily need another woman on the actual like show, like as far as like maybe looking at her, like, so for example, let's just say it was me, right? I'm in my very, very late 20s, right? And so I feel like for me, like I'm in marketing. So let's just say like my version of being a female Parks would be kind of how Parks does like the audio and the sound and things like that. Or not the audio, sorry, but yeah, the audio he does, and some of the sound. But for the most part, Parks is part of the show, but he's not on camera the majority of the time. They just have recently, in the past couple of years, started showing Parks. But prior to that, you would just kind of hear him chime in here and there. That's what I think that she needs. So again, if it was me, for example, I feel like I would play it the way that Parks was in the beginning. I would be off screen, but near and still a little bit part of the conversation, and being able to chime in and kind of not piggyback off of, because that's corporate language, but kind of give what Mel is saying sometimes a little bit more nuance, or to kind of give a different point of view of what she's trying to say so that it can kind of come across better. I think that's the problem here. I think it's that she's just the only woman. So when she's not always able to get out exactly what she wants to say or how she wants to say it, there's nobody there to really catch her. But When everybody else, like if Joe says something stupid, or not stupid, but if Joe says something, or if Ish says something, if any of the other guys say something, but they're not able to really verbalize the point or get to the point that they really want to make, there's 10 other guys in the room that gets what he's trying to say. So they're able to kind of jump in and be like, no. What he's trying to say is da 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 da. But she doesn't have that person. And I do see the comments, and I do agree with people when people have said, and I think just even on this episode, Ish was saying like how sometimes they'll ask Melyssa about like serious topics, and she just go, I don't know, or whatever. But I feel like she does not answer because of the fact that a lot of times, no matter what she says, all y'all gonna do is jump on her. And I think the problem sometimes and why people go so hard on the rest of them about how they treat Mel is because I feel like there's a line. Yes, obviously she's the only woman there, so she's gonna get joked on and stuff like that, and I think she actually does a great job with taking in a lot of the jokes. But I think the problem here is that they don't do a good balance of both. They don't do a good balance of actually taking what she's saying seriously and then joking on her. It's way more joking on her than actually taking what she says seriously. So when the guys do have a serious topic and they want Mel's opinion, in the past, when Mel has been very honest about her opinion, she just gets shitted on. She gets laughed at, and y'all pretty much laugh her out of the room. So even if it is joking, I understand not really wanting to be very forthcoming about your opinion when you know what you're going to say is going to be the complete opposite of them, because you're a woman and they're a man. So 9 times out of 10, whatever your opinion is might be completely opposite of that. And then the problem with that is that they don't even attempt to take what she's saying a little bit seriously. They automatically shit on it. I feel like when the guy says something that Mel might not necessarily understand, she genuinely asks questions, and then y'all laugh at the questions that she asks to try to get an understanding. But from her point of view, or from a woman point of view, some of the shit that comes out of the guys' mouths on that podcast is insane. So yes, sometimes it's like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And then y'all shit on her for her honestly asking something, or asking about something that she may not understand specifically from y'all point of view. So all I have to say is I think it would be helpful if, like I said, maybe you don't need like a whole nother woman like as part of like the main cast like who's actually on screen all the time, but I think it would be helpful and it would behoove Jen to get a female Parks. Get a girl or get a woman that probably, I'm not saying this so I could put my bid in. I'm just saying, just as a fan of the show, I think it would be helpful if you got a young woman somewhere who's probably like in my age range, like maybe somewhere between like 28 and 34, like somewhere late 20s. And when I mean late 20s, I mean like 28, 29, 30, 31 to 32. I feel like that's a good age range because that is a woman who's still pretty young, but she's like a grown ass woman. So she can kind of pull from maybe where she is right now a couple of years ago. And she can also pull from, like just kind of being a little bit more established or getting to that point, which is something that I feel like the guys don't. That's the one point of view that I feel like they're missing. Yes, you have a woman, but no, and this is no disrespect because M Ford is that girl. She's that girl. She has been that girl. But I think that a lot of times people shit on Mel because of her age, because of maybe like the background that she comes from, which I think is actually helpful in some of these conversations. But I do think that you need a woman who's not in the industry, right? Or who has not been in the industry before, and who might be a little bit younger, who can maybe talk to like what dating is like today. Not that she doesn't date today, but I'm talking about just dealing with men that are a little bit like on the younger side. Mel has already made it clear she's not dealing with nobody that's that young, and she shouldn't. God bless her heart, she should not. So I think it would just be more helpful. And I also think that, like I said, it would help it not feel like y'all are always just dogpiling on her, because sometimes I have to turn it off because it gets annoying sometimes especially when she's making a valid point is when I mostly get annoyed. So like the last episode, like I said, Are We Real? She was making a legit point and she wasn't lying when she was talking about sometimes people just be wanting to vent and sometimes you have to ask that. Like, for example, right? I think if they're really into The Office, Joe and them, they have to have seen Parks and Rec before. There's no way y'all never seen Parks and Rec. And there's an episode where Anne, I think maybe this is like in the first season or two, when Anne is just going around and she's like complaining to the guy that she was dating, not Chris Pratt, but the guy right after that, the little builder guy. And he kept like offering her solution. And somebody said to him, Travis, how about when she just is going off, why don't you just say that sucks? Because sometimes we're not looking for an answer. Sometimes we're just looking to get our shit off. And she had came home and she was snapping out. And he was just like, that sucks. And she was like, well, thank you. Sometimes that's all that people need. So that was a legit point, but y'all stepped all over her shit until Imani was the one who was actually able to, I guess, say it in a way for y'all that made sense. But that happens a lot on the show, to where sometimes it is hard to watch because, as she has said in the past, which is very true, even when it's time for her to actually make a legit point, y'all laugh at her. So again, I can see why when it's time to actually really get her opinion, it's like, I don't really feel like saying it because y'all not going to really listen to me or take me seriously. But when it's y'all, I have to sit here. Not only do I have to take the shit that y'all say seriously, because as Ish always says, it's 10 men in here and we can all have, and if we all saying the same thing, okay, so I have to sit here and listen to whatever it is that y'all saying because it's 10 of y'all. But when I have a point that I'm trying to make, all 10 of y'all can shit on it and y'all don't have to take what I'm saying seriously. I'm not saying that's what happens in real life. I'm saying that's how it comes across on the pod. Similar to what Imani said, sometimes I think y'all don't have the view of the fan. Y'all are in it, so y'all don't have the view of the fan, and maybe it's not what y'all mean, but it's how it comes off, which is why people are always in the comments saying that y'all dogpile on Mel. Again, sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's warranted. As y'all seen, I did a whole video about Melyssa and Ish and that whole situation. That was probably like the most views I got on the video about the JBP, and I went in on her because everything that they were saying that day was valid. And I also think a female Parks is needed for that too, for when Melyssa is actually tripping. So you can have, and again, we're not, as men like to say, we're not a monolith, but I do think it would be helpful if you have another woman there, so that if, for example, in the Ish situation, another woman can say to Mel, look, I get what you're saying, and I get what you're coming from. You're coming from the standpoint of, I don't want Ish for real, so why is anybody taking this seriously? But as a woman, you got to kind of see how that's a little bit weird. You flirting with another woman's man, even if it's just in playing. So I think that would even help the guys as a whole. I think it would help, like, on how they interact with her. And I also think that you guys I really feel like they need another woman, because y'all have to understand how to work with other women. Specifically, Joe, you seem to have a problem with working with other women. It seems to always be a problem. So I think if there was another woman there, y'all can turn and say to that woman, like, let's say Melyssa gets really upset and she walks away. Y'all could turn around and ask the other woman, like, what are we supposed to do? Or like, what did we say to make her upset? Or like, what can we do? Or what should we be doing? Because as another woman, we probably will be able to give you advice like, give her a second, she'll be all right. Or this is why she's mad, like, because y'all did this and X, Y, Z, and the third. Or even, like, you can watch the show and see when Mel starts to get uncomfortable and when she wants to leave. Having another woman in a room would actually be helpful to stop and be like, okay, let's take a second, because I could see it all over her body. It's not a good moment for her. Let's take 5 seconds, give her a second. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And she could do that for whoever the other woman is. But I just feel as if they need another woman on that show. It's only to balance it out. I'm not trying to bog the show down with so many people, but even if it's like just during a Patreon that y'all do it, or have the woman in the room, but maybe only have the quote unquote female Park speak up during Patreon, kind of like how Imani only comes on during Patreon, maybe not necessarily during a maid pod. But I think it would behoove Joe to have another female in there, because again, you seem to keep having problems, and it's obvious to everybody watching that Mel seems to kind of be on like her last legs. At least it comes off like that. Like she's coming to her last legs of being on the show, because y'all just shit on her constantly. And again, I feel like she does a good job of taking in the majority of the jokes, but y'all want her to participate in conversations that are more real and things are serious. But like I said, when it's actually time for her to do that, y'all don't give her the same respect that she gives, which is actually listening to another point of view. So that's really all I had to say. That last episode really just got me, because I've been feeling like this for a while. Like, y'all really, at first I felt like y'all need a female on the show. Cool, y'all got that. Y'all need another one. And again, like I said, not to maybe be on the main pod, but just to make the person like a female Parks. I think y'all need a little bit of a younger woman, and y'all need another woman there, period. Even if y'all don't feel like she's gonna add anything, I feel like it would just make Mel feel more comfortable and more like I'm not by myself, because that's what you don't want. You don't want anybody, male or female, to feel like they in some shit by themselves and that they're always pretty much being ganged up on. Nobody wants to feel like that. That's what and then you want to know what happens? Give it a couple years from now, not saying that she would do it, but give it a couple years from now, and then somebody will say, I felt like I was being ganged up on the whole time, and that this person did not foster a work environment for me to feel comfortable. That's real shit. So my thing is, Joe, I don't care. Do a contest. I don't know. Look out for people. Hell, if you want my motherfucking opinion, I'll give you my damn opinion. But really, really look into like the idea of a female Parks. Somebody who maybe not be on the actual show, but can kind of sit to the side the way Parks does, and maybe they help in other areas. So like I said, if it was me, I would help you on the marketing side, and then I'll put my 2 cents in. But it don't gotta be me. I'm not saying it gotta be me. It could be whoever. But like, y'all get in the comments. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that the JBP needs another female? If no, tell me why not. And what do you guys think of my idea of having like a female Parks? Get in the comments. Tell me what you think. I'm out. Bye.